Hello and welcome, adventurers, LARPers, and Ren Fair enthusiasts. Today, I am ranking from most difficult to least difficult of the Masterhoods that you can achieve in the LARP of Amtgard. Let's get to it. All right, so here is our list. Today we are going to be ranking the most difficult Masterhood to earn. I get asked this question all the time by new players. Which one takes more time, less time? So a few things that are going to go into my ranking here. How long does it take to get it on average? How many of them are out there? And then just how easy it is to get some of these Masterhoods. I will say I've only played in 2 kingdoms in the Midwest mainly, and so this mileage might vary depending on where you are, but I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we'll spend some time talking about each of these. I am going to put Warlord very obviously in S tier. Warlord is the one that you get for tournament wins. It is the only one that we have in the game of Amtgard where it requires you to beat other people, other current masters, to be able to get this Warlord. It requires you to be better than the current best. And so because of that, it is the hardest to achieve. If there are probably the fewest amount of Warlords in the game out of all of these, maybe Lions might be the exception there, but we'll get to that. Warlord, I think, is the most difficult, takes the most amount of time. I've anecdotally heard the phrase, it takes 10 years to become a Warlord for most Warlords. I think this one has the highest skill that you need to be able to get there. It also takes a really long time. Warlord, I think, by far the most difficult to earn out of all the Masterhoods in our game. Next up is Battle. Now, Battle's a little weird. Battle is so new, it's really hard to rank it. So I'm gonna throw this one up here, but if I look back on this in a year, 3 years, 5 years, this is the one that I feel like I could probably be the most wrong on. I'm gonna throw Battle in B tier. I feel that it is pretty difficult to achieve because you do need multiple Paragons, but there are multiple opportunities to get this one. For instance, this will go into some of our other rankings. Warlord, you've got multiple tournaments a year, you got multiple chances to win, but Battle, you have multiple chances to win at every single event. There's, a dozen battle games at every event we go to. So you have a lot of different chances to, strut your stuff, as it were. And so because of that, the ones that have more opportunities are going to be easier to get. Theoretically, you have more opportunities to show how good you are. Because of that, I'm going to throw this in B tier with the caveat, this one could go up or down. Really, it just depends on how the culture evolves as a whole. We're going to go to Dragon next. I'm putting Dragon in B tier. I guess I should do this. I was going to do this with the other ones too. I was going to tell you where I'm at on each of these to give a little bit of context. I'm fairly high up on most of these. Warriors, I am at 6. So I have placed in kingdom level tournaments like the top 8, top 10, but never won. Battle, I am sitting at 8 orders of the battle right now, so fairly high up in that one. Dragon is my Masterhood. I do currently hold a Master Dragon. The reason I put this one in B tier is I feel that it is a very broad skill. There are a lot of different things that you can do that fall into Dragon. Out of all of the ANS ones, it's the one that is the widest. Owl and Garber being much more narrow. I feel that this one it still takes a decent amount of time. All of these take a whole lot of time, if we're being honest. But I think Dragon is probably easier to get than Owl and Garber, which you'll see here next. I do think it is a time-consuming one, and it can be kind of a difficult one because Dragon is the catch-all. If it's not an Owl, if it's not a Garber, it goes in Dragon, which can be kind of difficult sometimes. But with that, Dragon is going in my B tier. Like I said, this is my Masterhood. Next is Owls. I'm putting Owls in the A tier. I have 7 Owls currently, mainly for armor and plastidip. I feel Owl is harder to get than Dragon. There are significantly fewer Owls than there are Dragons, and the amount of skills that go into Owl are just fewer skills, right? You've got armor making, weapon making, plastidip, woodworking, and then I start to run out, right? Where with Dragons, you've got 50,000 things. I mean, there's so many things that can go into dragon. And so owl, I think just because there's so few master owls out there, fewer skills that go into it, I think it definitely is A tier. It's going to be more difficult to achieve than the master dragon. Next up is Garber. I currently have 7 Garbers, 6 Garbers, something like that. I don't remember. I put Garber up here with S tier. I think it's probably the second hardest one to achieve in our game. At least in my area, it's the only other one other than Warlord that really has a skill measurement against the other current masters. In Garber, it seems to be, are you as good as the current master Garbers? If not, we're not going to give it to you, in a way that is very difficult compared to some of the other Masterhoods. So I think Garber, probably the second hardest to achieve. I think the skill set required is a very specific one. You have to hone in a lot. There aren't a whole lot of opportunities outside of a sewing machine to get Garb. And there's a couple of exceptions, right? But for the most part, you need the machine. It's going to be a little expensive. If you want a serger, if you want, an embroidery machine, you start to get into some of these different cost things. But it's still very, very one specific skill, and you have to be good at that skill or you are not getting Garber. Whereas with like Dragon, if I'm not good at painting, that's okay. I can go do digital art. If I'm not good at digital art, that's okay. I can go do belt weaving. If I'm not good at belt weaving, that's okay. I can go do, there's a bunch of different things that fall into Dragon where Garber isn't. It's one very specific skill, and if you're not good at that skill, you're not gonna get it. So next up, we have Rose, first of our flame belts. I am putting Rose down here in C tier. Reason for that, I think Rose is probably our most populous, most populated Masterhood that we have. There are more Master Roses running around than anything else, maybe other than Crown, which sneak peek, we'll get there. I feel like Rose also has the most opportunities. Think about it this way. Every event you go to, your trash crat, your feastocrat, your gatocrat, your main crat, your just all sorts of different things. There's 6, 8, 10, 12 positions in some kingdoms. Every event that you can fill, and you've got the opportunity to increase your roses, and you've got your opportunity to get your master rose. Don't take this as C tier. It's the easiest to get. It's worthless. Our game doesn't run without our master roses. So we love our master roses. I just think that when it comes to the most difficult to achieve, master rose is probably one of the easier ones, just because there are more opportunities, and we as a game in general like to reward the people that are doing the work, because that's what keeps the game going. And so there's more people that want to do Rose. There's also more people doing Rose, more opportunities. I'm throwing that in C tier. Next up, we have, Rose. Garber, I'm at 7. Rose, I think I'm at 7, 6 or 7, somewhere in there. Next, we get lions. I only have a few lions. I think lions are misunderstood a lot of times. What do we give lions for? Each kingdom kind of gives different things, they don't know what they want to give lions for, it seems. So I'm saying lions are going to be A tier because they are kind of confusing. Most kingdoms aren't sure what they're going to do with them, how you're going to give them. They are pretty rare. I only know 1 or 2 master lions. 2 off the top of my head. So this one is a rare one. I think it takes a lot of work to get, and you got to be very intentional about getting your award recs in. This one could go into A tier for me. It's on the line. I'm gonna leave it in A, or it could go into S tier. I mean, lion is really difficult just because it's so misunderstood, I think, and it doesn't really have a clear fit on what it does most of the time. Next up, we have Smith. I'm putting Smith in A tier as well, mainly because there are so few opportunities to get Master Smith. Really, it's the Warocrat, or sometimes you can get it for teaching, but it's a ton of teaching if you're doing it that way, or putting out content of some sort. But really A tier, because this one's hard. There aren't very many opportunities. There really aren't that many Master Smiths. At least in the areas that I've played, there's just a handful. It's a skill set that is hard to refine because unlike some of these other ones, Garbers and all of the A and S ones, and really even Rose, you can perfect those on your local level, do local events and different things like that. But to really get your Master Smith running games for 75, 100 people, you don't get that you just don't get that many opportunities. It doesn't happen that often. And so for you to be able to win the bid to be able to get it, and then can do well on it, I put Smith pretty high up there. I'm at 8 Smiths, but most of my Smiths come from teaching classes and online tutorials and things like that, not necessarily as much of the game running. Now, last but not least is Crown. I have 8 crowns done at Kingdom level office. I put Crown down here because it is, in my opinion, the fastest track to get to. You really just have to win 2 or 3 Kingdom elections. And I've seen people, brand new Amtgarders, come out because a lot of people, some kingdoms just don't have competitive elections. I've seen 3-year players with Master Crown. And very rarely do you get a master of anything else that quickly. Crown seems to be the one that people can kind of fast track on, especially if you have the personality to do so. The only other one are going to be Warlord and Garber, but those generally are people coming in from other games. You can get those pretty quick if you've got skills in other sets. But really, Crown is harder probably than Rose because you've got fewer opportunities to do it. But I feel like with Crown, you have to do fewer things and put less amount of time into it than what you do with some of the other ones. In reality, these 2 right here, Crown and Rose, there are more Crown and Rose Masterhoods running around than all of these other ones combined. And so part of why I put them down there is just the frequency and that we have them. We just have a whole lot of them. So that makes me think, right or wrong, makes me think that they're going to be easier to get. And it falls in the same thing as Rose. We want to reward the people who do the things that we need to keep the game going. And because of that, that's why we have so many of them. So what I'm going to do, I want to leave a link to this down in the description below. I'll erase mine here. I want to know what your thoughts are. I would love it if you would go in here, make your own tier list on where you would put the difficulty to earn the Masterhoods, post them on your social media, make a video about it, tag me in it. All of my socials are down below. If you like this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help the channel. What helps it more than almost anything else, though, is if you like this, take it and share it in your Kingdom Facebook page, in your Park Facebook group, on your Discord channels, things like that. Share this video around for me if you would, if you liked the content. It really does help out a lot for the channel. And if you have any other tier lists that you would like me to break down for Amtgard, I would love to make them for you. So throw those down in the comment as well. I would love to get your opinion, your feedback on what I should do and what I should rank next. So that is the end of this video. Most difficult Masterhoods to earn in Amtgard. I'm St. Godric. See you next time.